Hello, I'm gonna talk about religion and particularly look at the fruits of different religions and let's do a philosophical uh, play or assumption that let's assume for the purposes of this video that the metaphysical assumptions of the religions are true and like what are the implications and what does it tell about the followers of those religions and whatnot. Okay, let's start with Christianity. How has Christianity fared? And I guess I should give the background sort of why I'm doing this, because I do think that society in general does seem some sort of religion to be cohesive and for it to function properly. Otherwise, well, you're gonna get basically what is happening now in the West, and there is no unifying religion or a proper ideology except feminism or crap like that. So anyway, so Christianity, how has it fared, especially like in Europe in the last couple of millennia? And well, certainly it hasn't been perfect. Like there have been plenty of wars in the past and stuff, and of course there are these different sects and Protestants, Orthodox, Catholic, and all these smaller denominations and whatnot, countless different denominations of Christianity, and good luck trying to figure out which is the correct one or which is closest to the truth and whatnot. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think that the fruits of Christianity, like real life Christianity, have been that great. But I'm not saying I certainly don't find any other religion superior to that either. And now, looking at the West, that it's not really Christian anymore. I think that things are going much worse than they used to be. Of course, I wasn't alive 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago, so I don't have, I guess, like a balanced view of how life was back then. But I think that it used to be more sensible in the old days. That's basically the about Christianity. And Buddhism is, well, I like on many, at least superficial respects, I think Buddhism is in many ways similar to Christianity, since both of them are about they encourage their followers for moral behavior and honesty and reserved, don't give in to your temptations and whatnot. And both have, Christianity of course has Jesus, and Buddhism has Buddha. Well, there are many Buddhas, but there's the Siddhartha Gautama, the original Buddha who started it. And on a superficial perspective, at least, they are very similar. But of course, there are many doctrinal differences in their metaphysics. Well, Christianity basically believes in salvation, in external salvation, you can only be saved by believing in Jesus. And in Buddhism, I think it's more like an inner thing, you can reach salvation or nirvana as it is in Buddhism by meditation and whatnot. And of course, Buddhism doesn't really believe in God, or maybe some Buddhists might believe that there are many gods, but they are just part of the universe, so they're not in that sense so much superior to mortals and whatnot. I guess, yeah, there's many different views of Buddhism as well. So there's of course difference between Christianity, that believes that there is one God, although God has three aspects according to Christianity and whatnot. But I don't know, well, I guess this is just my bias. I think Christianity and Buddhism, they are the most reasonable ones for me, at least. But yeah, I guess I think Buddhism has I think Buddhist societies in general are decent, and people tend to behave decently as well. But I guess it hasn't like brought any kind of great enlightenment to the world either. So maybe there's a lot of to be desired for there as well. And then, okay, let's go to Islam. I'm not a fan of Islam, but certainly it has somewhat worked in the Middle East for 1,500 years or so. Like, I don't know if it has worked so well. I wouldn't call those societies that, very happy or anything, but at least they have like brought some sort of order there. But of course, when they're trying to bring both Islamists and our liberal overlords here in the West, when they are bringing Islam here, it's just is creating, of course, more chaos and violence and rape and whatnot, which is not very nice. So I don't see Islam as that. I don't know, like the very like it's better than nothing, but that's not a great accomplishment in my honest opinion. Okay, then Hinduism. Well, to be quite honest, I don't know that much about Hinduism. Like, I know there are all these, Vishnu and Kali and Shiva and whatnot, this Ganesha, like loads of different gods, and there's many myths, but I don't know that great about, like, that much about it, and you basically have to be born Indian or, like, study it, like, really your whole life to understand what's going on. But, like, just looking at the fruits of Hinduism, like India nowadays, well, I haven't been to India, but it doesn't, just as an outsider, just looking at it through the internet and the media, it doesn't seem like that a great place. Like, it quite frankly seems shitty in the literal sense, because, well, they many Indians apparently like shitting on the streets and whatnot. So I don't know. I just think Hinduism seems very confusing to me, and it might be that I'm just ignorant and I don't get it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it seems confusing, and it breeds confusion, in my opinion. Then Judaism, well, I guess it's good for the Jews. Yeah, I guess like Jews that follow the Torah, they're probably decent. I don't know, like, but of course many Jews either wittingly or unwittingly follow the Talmud, which is like, the most racist, supremacist book ever, or so. So yeah, I don't think it's good for other people to emulate that sort of behavior. Like, in the short term, sure, like if you take this sort of nepotistic attitude towards your own people at the exclusion of others, I don't think it's I think it's gonna be doomed to failure, especially since if you're trying to emulate them, you wouldn't be doing the Jew thing as well as Jews do. So no, I don't know. I'm like, if I said that, well, Islam is, I'm not a fan. Judaism, I'm even less of a fan. And then there's Wicca and other sorts of like this, New Age crap. And yeah, I say called crap because, well, my impression of Wicca is, even though it, it lends ideas from like older pagan European religions, and there's Saman and whatever, Beltane and stuff, they're like this Celtic stuff, and then there's like Hecate, some goddess from the Greek mythology and whatnot. But I think it's like a modern creation. They just sometime in modern times they took a bunch of ideas from older religions and put them together, because I think the motivation is basically because nowadays a lot of people aren't really into like many of the major religions, like Christianity or whatnot, but many people aren't satisfied with just being an atheist with no supernatural or beliefs or nothing. Then they needed to create something like this. And so yeah, I think it's sort of lame in that sense. Like, sure, magic is sort of interesting, but there's of course a thing that, well, okay, let's move on. Like, because this is about Wicca and witchcraft, which is one aspect of Wicca. This video by The Scariest Movie Ever, like, his view is like, Christian, somewhat conspiratorial view, but he just, showed a bunch of articles how witchcraft is the perfect religion for liberal millennials, and he shows like stuff. No, this is the same crap. Like how people are. Yeah, what ties together crystals, feminism, polyamory, lapsed Catholicism, and tarot cards, and whatnot. And like the season of the witch, why young women are flocking to ancient craft. So apparently it is appealing to many liberals and feminists and whatnot, which is never a good sign. And then they show like the video shows like articles like how people are using witchcraft. Yeah, the fascinating story of the mother of modern witchcraft, whatever. In number of child abuse cases involving witchcraft accusations. So like this is sort of seems like the natural progress if you engage in witchcraft is to, I don't know, like basically head to Satanism. Like I suppose like if you look at it, if in like Dungeons and Dragons, there's the axis like good, neutral, and evil. Like what is your worldview? Like Vika is like you start off as being like morally neutral, and there is no such thing as good and evil, but slowly I think there's a slippery slope that you will quite possibly head towards more satanic avenues if you engage in witchcraft. And once again, I don't know if actual magic is real, like if you do a witchcraft ritual, if something happens, but like for the purposes of this video, it is real. But that's not really what's important. Like 12 real crimes involving modern day witches and witchcraft. It doesn't really matter if Lawrence Harris murdered his stepdaughters with a spell that backfired, and there's like plenty of these articles in this video. Wayne Harton committed a ritual triple murder before a blue moon. So like, does it matter if he actually manages to contact spirits and whether those spirits are good or evil or neither? But he committed a ritual and he killed 3 people. So is the foremost argument shouldn't be whether is magic real or not. Like if you say I don't believe in magic, well, do you believe in murder? Do you believe in I don't know, all sorts of criminal behavior? Like it doesn't matter like whether these people, whether demons or spirits or anything or like that is real. The point is the end results. And of course, like this video somewhere points out the fact that some witches, including Lana Del Rey, some pop star, they are like they get together once a month to cast a hex on Donald Trump because he's just so chauvinist and sexist and misogynist and racist and anti-Semitic and whatnot. So once again, does it matter if you believe that magic is real or not? Because I'm not sure. I like maybe I have like 40% of me believes that it might be real, but 60% is like, no, it's bullshit, but still, like, so at the very least, these people are insane. Okay, let's move on. Then there's pre-Christian pagan religions like Asatru and stuff, which I guess I have like sympathy for these pagan religions, and I've liked mythology for most of my life, and so I do think it's a good idea to learn about different mythologies and stuff like that. I think it's fascinating, and it tells us something about our world and whatnot, and people and so on. But I just don't see this as a viable living religion, and I think there's a reason why these religions died hundreds of years ago. And sure, in recent years there has been some sort of revival, trying to revive these pagan religions like Asatru, but in my perception is that it's just basically a bunch of people LARPing on the internet. Like, I don't see them being like true believers in Odin or Thor or whatnot. I think it's more like an excuse for ethno-nationalism, and I have nothing against ethno-nationalism, but it's just when I compare these neo-pagans to Christians or Muslims or whatnot, I just don't see the faith in these people as much. And you shouldn't have to force your religion to be a basis for your ethno-nationalism. Just be ethno-nationalist if that's your thing. But yeah, a religion basically should be even more important than worldly concerns like that. And then there's of course atheism or scientism, which is a religion. And I should say that I don't mean that all atheists believe in their atheism religiously, but certainly there are people such as Richard Dawkins and his fanboys who seem to view atheism as a religion or scientism, and they believe that science can give us all of the answers. And well, it just, if you think that, then it crosses over to religion, and it is of course nonsense, since many of these atheists and scientismists, they claim to be against religion, but then they are actually promoting a religion which is anti-religion. And also I think, well, scientism, it denotes hubris. Man can do pretty much anything. Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, the story illustrates that, no, there are some things that we shouldn't meddle with. Or H.P. Lovecraft, even though it's not so much about science, it's more about, I don't know, occult and weird stuff that Lovecraft stories deal with. But yeah, there's crap like this March for Science. This was in Helsinki this April. It began in response to alternative facts and recent policy changes in the US. Now we are making it a worldwide celebration of science. It's not it sounds like they're playing, Sid Meier's Civilization video game, and you accrue more of the science stat. Science shouldn't be it's not a concrete thing, it's an abstract methodology that you should use to a certain truth in certain matters. And also I dislike the modern dichotomy, however you say it, between people like to claim that religion and science are opposites, or they are in contrast with each other, but I don't think they have to be. they can actually support each other. Like, of course, like if scientific facts disprove some stuff of some beliefs of your religion, then yeah, there might be something wrong with your religion. But then again, maybe if the alleged scientific facts dispute what your holy texts say, then maybe there is something wrong with this science, because to be quite honest, a lot of science is simply what the orthodoxy of modern science claims it to be, and it might be different. Like the dogma might be different in 20 years or so. But yeah, that's another topic, and I've discussed it in previously, and I know a lot of people will disagree and get triggered, like how dare you say that about science, and that just proves my argument basically. And yeah, and they say you don't understand science, go read a book and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And of course then there's feminism or social justice warriorism or cultural Marxism, and which is like a curious hodgepodge of both scientism and Islam, which is, well, of course the greatest nonsense here. And as this video and this article sort of suggests, witchcraft or Wicca seems to be a part of feminism, which isn't so commonly pointed out, I suppose. So, of course, well, feminism is complete nonsense, and if you disagree with that, I don't know, just, well, I don't know what to say. But yeah, okay, to conclude this video is like, I'm not gonna promote any religion in general, but I said that Christianity and Buddhism, I guess I have the most favorable opinion of them, and also I have let's say I have sympathy for pre-Christian pagan religions and whatnot, but I'm still skeptical of how it could work nowadays. But yeah, it's not to promote any particular religion or dissuade you from, well, okay, I want to dissuade you from Wicca and atheism or scientism. If you're an atheist, then be an atheist, but don't be a religious atheist, because those are some of the most annoying people. If you don't believe in God, then you don't believe in God, whatever, it's not my problem, but don't go saying oh, you're dumb if you believe in God, and because the internet is full of those people and everybody has heard their arguments, and I hope everybody like me is tired of those arguments, because they don't have anything new to add, really. But yeah, I do think that societies need some sort of a religion. It doesn't have to be 100% everybody agrees on it, but somehow for the society to have cohesion, they need some common belief system or mythology or whatever. And why I don't think that any a political ideology is sufficient for that is that, well, they're just I guess because I do think that man is a sinful being, or flawed, or whatever word do you want to use. Religion usually takes that into account, and it tries to reform humans in some way, which those ideologies don't. Liberalism or democracy, they seem to assume that everybody is good, deep down they're good, but I don't believe that. I certainly don't see that when I observe humanity, and yeah, I don't think that any just political ideal, be it liberalism, democracy, national socialism, or anything like that, would like reform or keep in check the nature of man. And I do think that is necessary in some way. And yeah, maybe there is no like true religion. Like maybe all religions are false in some way. Not saying that all religions are equal though. Like some religions are bound to be more false than others, but maybe maybe it's impossible for us mere mortals to really understand the nature of God or whatnot, and all of these religions are just flawed attempts at it, but still better than nothing. But yeah, ultimately, though, I guess it's sort of like an unfair representation of religion for me to, I don't know, sort of look at the secular results of these religions, since many religions like Christianity and Buddhism and Islam as well, at least they are basically their main argument is that this world is not the one that really matters, that you're supposed to go to heaven, whether it's by fighting jihad or believing in Jesus, or just I don't know, understanding the falseness of this world, as in Buddhism. Although I don't think Buddhism teaches that this world is an illusion. Like they use samsara, which means, I think that this means a skewed perspective or something. So we have a skewed perspective of the world. Well, I can at least agree with that argument. And so maybe the purpose of religion is to make us, see the proper perspective. But anyway, like, so yeah, it's so yeah, like I said, it's sort of unfair to look at religions in this sort of secular way, and the secular results, like what sort of secular societies they create, because like in Christianity it ultimately at least doesn't matter. But of course, like I don't really have, like, although I say I believe in God, but I think that's more like a reason-based belief, because it's the only thing that makes sense in the end when you think about stuff. But maybe I'll go to talk about that in more detail later. But yeah, religion is supposed to be what comes after this life, if anything comes after. And so it might not matter so much what happens in this life if you're a true believer in any of these religions. But for me, at least, I suppose I'm not a true believer in any particular religion. So at least I can't just, sit by, like, let's say, I maybe like, like take Christianity as an example, like, or like contrast it with movies. Let's say that a character played by an actor gets raped and murdered horribly in the movie, but after the scene is over and her job is finished, it doesn't really traumatize her. It doesn't cause the actress any actual damage. Maybe this world is actually just like that. While you are in the in this world, it all seems so real and everything seems so important. But once you are dead, then you understand, it was just a movie, so it doesn't really matter. Like maybe that's true, but I cannot really live just believing that, because I certainly wouldn't want to see like my family getting killed or raped or anything like that in a horrible way. So I guess that's why I'm making this video, just to make people think about religion, because I don't know, like I sort of assume that everybody is some degree of atheist nowadays, but I used to be an atheist, but I just think it's important to look at religion because it's not going away even if you want it to, and to have reasonable arguments for and against religions and religious people and whatnot.